Will you tell me what is direct and indirect speech? What is direct speech?
Yes, sir. So direct speech is a form of speech in which you give me a command and I follow it, and then I will go to home and tell to this to anyone. The teacher said to me that concept. So first you give me this command, so it is called direct speech, and then I repeat it to my family, so it's called indirect speech.
Okay, and who will give a definition of direct speech? Anybody want to give definition of direct and indirect speech? Anybody who want to give definition of direct speech? Anybody? Yes, beta.
When the exact word used by the speech are called direct speech.
Exactly. This is that. Now repeat your definition.
When the exact words used in the speech are called direct speech.
And what is indirect speech? What is indirect speech? Sit down, beta. What is indirect speech? Anybody want to tell? Definition of indirect speech? Who want to tell? Who want to tell indirect speech definition? Anybody want to tell? In front of the camera? You want to tell? Yes? Why not?
When the substance of a speech is conveyed is called the indirect speech.
Indirect speech. Sit down. Direct speech, when speaker's words are written as it is without changing them, that is direct speech. And when speaker's words are changed according to own self, that indirect speech. And there are how many changes when we convert direct speech into indirect speech? How many changes? Do you know the changes? Do you know the changes? How many changes? How many changes are? How many changes are when we convert direct speech into indirect speech? Will you tell me? The first change, the change of tenses, all the present tense converted into past tense. When we change direct speech into indirect speech. When we change direct speech into indirect speech, all the present tense converted into past tense. Then change of pronouns. And the third is the time and place references words. The time and place references words also change. What are those words? What are time and place references words? Yesterday, the previous day, here, there, yesterday, time referencing words. And here, place references words. Here is your place references word. Okay, here change into there, and yesterday change into the previous day. There are three changes, three major changes, three certain changes in when we convert direct speech into indirect speech. But just I have told you all the present tense converted into past tense, but there are some exceptions. In which the tense of the reported speech will remain unchanged. What are those exceptions? Will you tell me? What are those exceptions? What are those exceptions? The first is universal truth. Universal truth. When reported, yes.
Second, we change the say to change to tells. Says we can sentence. Says we can change the tells.
We can change the
Tense.
tense. Okay. Now first is universal. Sit down. First is universal truth. Do you know what is universal truth? What is universal truth? Who can define? Yes, universal truth.
That not change.
That is. How will you define it? How will you define universal fact? How will you define universal fact? If reported speech contains, universal truth, the tense of reported speech will remain unchanged, no change. But how will you do? How will you identify that this is the universal truth? आप कैसे पहचानेंगे उसको कि ये यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ है? तो हमें इसका टेंस चेंज नहीं करना है. हाउ विल यू? तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू शुड नो द डेफिनेशन. व्हेन यूनिवर्सल ट्रूथ, it is the beyond the time and place. It is the what is universal truth? The fact which is beyond the time and place. There is no governance of time and place over universal truth. It cannot be affected by time and place. By time and place. That is called universal truth. That is called universal truth.